Hey Kyle, hey Dylan, how you guys doing? Um, Dylan, I just want to say you got some really great things going on with your swing. Your dad sent me a video, and if we clean up a few things that I call sequencing issues, your bat speed's going to increase, and you're going to hit the ball a lot harder and a lot farther, and it's going to be a great season for you. So the first thing I'll get started with is your stance. Kyle, something I would recommend is improve his posture. Basically, he's standing completely upright. He just really needs to have a little more bit of an athletic stance, some more bend at the waist. And critically, which I know is really hard to see in this video, but Dylan, your back foot, you always want to make sure it's pointing straight. You don't want it pointing back at the catcher, and it's pointed back at the catcher a little bit in this video. So clean up your stance, get a little more athletic, maybe a little more bend in your knees, a little more bend at the waist. So your butt will go out, your waist will bend. Okay, guys? Kyle, a lot of what I talked about the other night was getting into the launch position and loading correctly. And that's kind of where he gets stuck and out of sequence here. So you can see where his hands start and where they move back towards the catcher as he begins his load. So just take a look here. You can see the bends at his elbows where they, whoops, hang on. Program doesn't always work right. These are the bends in his elbows now, right? That's the angle now. And as he begins to load, that angle lessens quite a bit. So right there is his new angle once he's loaded. Okay. The angle that he starts with is pretty much the angle he wants to stay with. So Trout right here, unfortunately I don't have him going into his load, but that's him, with his foot high and at foot plant. So you can see his angles stay the same the entire time. His hands never move back towards the catcher. So at foot plant, his angle is the same as when they started. So work on stopping that, what I term, well, everybody terms, early arm bar, and work on just rotating the shoulders more to get into a better loaded position. When you're getting into this position at foot plant, you can see right there's foot plant for you. Here's foot plant for Trout. If you notice where his hands are, okay, his hands are inside his back elbow, okay, basically lined up with his knee inside his back foot. Your hands, okay, are outside your back elbow, outside your back knee, and almost outside your back foot. So you're not rotating your shoulders to load. You're taking your hands and moving them back towards the catcher. And you're getting some shoulder rotation, but it's more of taking your hands and moving them back towards the catcher. So work on that and do your best you can to eliminate that. Basically, you want to stay rotated or loaded for as long as you possibly can when you're striding. So you can see with Trout, when he lands, his hands are still high. He hasn't moved them. He hasn't begun his swing, okay? And for you, let me get it here. So when you stride right here, you're already starting your swing before you've finished your foot plant, okay? I hope that makes sense. Hang on, let me catch up to where I am in my notes here. All right. So also at foot plant, what you can see is once Trout lands, okay, his head, everything stays in the same position. So if I put a circle around his head, do the best I can right there. And then I put you at foot plant right there. Put a circle around your head. Okay. You continue to leak forward. Also, your front knee is going to continue to leak forward. So I'm going to go past that line. He doesn't leak at all. So watch where your head goes. Your head's going to keep moving forward. Your knee's going to keep moving forward. Kyle, this is a large reason why he's not able to lock that knee out at impact. He's continuing to move forward. So Dillon, what you need to do and what you need to feel, like I said, at foot plant, you'll see Trout's head no longer moves forward, nor does his front knee, and your knee continues to move forward, which causes your head to do the same. At foot plant, you want the feeling of planting both feet into the ground and having the same weight on both of your feet. So it's a 50-50 weight distribution when your front foot has planted, okay? And at foot plant, your hands should still be up in the loaded position. And Kyle, we talked about this a lot the other night as well. And your back elbow and arm, okay, should be parallel to the ground. So if we take a look at, let me get rid of some of these things, where your elbow is at foot plant, which I'm going to consider foot plant when you stop moving forward, which is really right here, there. You can see where your elbow already is. Your elbow, your back elbow, is down here, okay? Mike Trout's is up here. So it's really a flip-flopping, a cantilever of your shoulders, okay? If that makes sense, if I'm using the right words here. All right, so let's get rid of those things. Something to think about when the swing begins is it's really just an unwinding of your shoulders and a rotation of your hips. So if we watch Trout, again, he stays connected. All these angles on his arms, his barrel, everything stays the same. That bat stays really close to his back shoulder. And really all he does here, the elbow does slot some, but the elbow's not dropping down to the hip because he's bringing it down there. The elbow drops down to the hip more so because he's unwinding his load, right? This is his load. Right there. Unload. Load. Unload. The barrel stays nice and close to his back shoulder. Okay? He stays connected. And you can see where his hands are at this point compared to where you get, let me get you the same point, your elbow, okay? Just different positioning there. Okay, so here, you guys are pretty much in a similar spot, okay, but your barrel's kind of getting trapped behind you at that point. Kyle, a good thing to show him is that rock the baby drill that I mentioned the other night. Get him in his in a really good stance, really good athletic stance, and just have him rock the baby and have him feel what it's like to just rotate and unwind his shoulders. Rotate and unwind his shoulders. Okay. So at foot plant, again, Trout, right? He just begins to unwind everything. His head stays in the same position. His spine stays in the same position. This is where the swing becomes much more rotational, okay? The body begins rotation around the spine, and the head stays still at foot plant. You got to make sure that you're doing that. Because of the early arm bar and early barrel separation that you're getting, Dillon, you're creating some bat drag or racing back elbow, and that's where I showed you how early your elbow is dropping down into the slot. If you stay connected longer in that loaded position longer, that'll certainly improve. So I would say those are the first things to work on. Kyle, what I would do is I would check his grip as well. At extension, he doesn't look too bad, but right there, he's rolling over way too early. So you'll be able to see his right forearm at this point goes over top of his left forearm. Okay, his left elbow all the way through here needs to continue to the sky. Okay, this is going to help with that upward bat path and swing plane that we're looking for. You can see what he's going to do is he's going to literally pop up, almost try to straighten his body up. See how his head gets higher? His head's not staying in the same position. It's getting higher. That's how he's trying to lift the ball. Okay, so check his grip to make sure he's not rolling over because of a poor grip. One thing with extension to notice in full rotation is if you watch Trout's thigh, his front foot thigh, it continues as he swings to roll outside. Okay, his knee continues to roll outside because his front hip is rotating and going back towards the catcher. That will pull Dillon's, if Dillon continues to rotate, okay, instead of popping up, okay, if he continues to rotate, the thigh, the knee will continue to go outside of his front foot ankle like Trout does, like all these upper level guys do. And the weight at that point ends up on the outside of his front foot. Okay? And you watch his front elbow, it continues to just go towards the sky. What Dillon's doing a pretty good job of, Kyle, is releasing his back foot. Not doing too bad with it at all. Get him in the finished position of, let me show you where Trout is when he's finished. So an impact, boom, his back leg, his back foot is continuing to move forward, still moving forward to right about there. You can kind of see this angle that he's at. That staying back angle helps keep the barrel on plane, creates that upward path. Dillon's trying to get there, but if you look at his angle, right, he's almost standing straight up. So get this back knee to look more like that. And his foot kind of be like that, I guess. Right? Yeah, similar to that. Okay. So a thought for him too, a swing thought is the back knee works its way towards the front knee. You got to be careful with that though, because it's really the front hip pulling the center of mass, the belly button, and the back hip rotating as well at the same time. That's pulling the back knee and the foot off the ground. But if you get him into that finished position, what he'll do is he'll feel all the weight on his back leg, on his quad, just above his back knee, and also on his back foot. And if he feels that position, all you can do is you just tell him to swing and finish to feel that position. So that's all I got for now, guys. This is kind of hard to understand sometimes through video, I know. But Kyle, if you have any questions, and obviously we can take a look at the video together sometime as well. Give me a call. We'll see you. Keep working hard, Dillon.